Interest in UFOs was sparked in part by a plane crash in Kentucky back in 1948. A celebrated war pilot died while following an unidentified flying object.
65 years later, the cause of that Kentucky crash remains unclear.
LEX 18's Adam Weiner spoke to a witness from that day. Her story in tonight's Mystery Monday.
This is where it all began, right out here.
Taking me on a tour of her neighborhood, Shelby Stones drives up to a small building that used to be her old schoolhouse in Franklin, Kentucky.
This was where I was standing when it all happened. That plane fell.
Stone describes a day in January 1948 she'll never forget.
And spiraling down and screaming, and that's what I remember most, is the noise it was making.
Stone was 11 years old when she witnessed a military jet crash just beside her home.
This one right here is me.
The pilot was World War II veteran Thomas Mantell, a 25-year-old honored for his role in D-Day, now a captain in the Kentucky Air National Guard. The crash Stone witnessed would forever change the country's perception of UFOs. There's not much that remains of the crash from 1948, but there is this one artifact. It is a piece of Mantell's plane, and it shows the wear and tear not just of age, but of the crash itself. It's dented and scarred, with burn marks on both sides, and it remains one of the last links to this great mystery from the 40s about what exactly happened to Mantell that day.
Here was the very first individual to be a casualty of a UFO incident.
Historian John Trowbridge of the Kentucky National Guard has studied this case.
Godman Tower had been watching this thing. They had received all these calls from around the area, around the state. State police were calling in. You had legitimate folks out there that were watching this thing, and it had just sat there for so long, and they were trying to figure out what it was. And apparently Colonel Hicks, who was in the tower, said, "Hey, this is so-and-so, we see something, can you investigate?"
Before his death, Captain Mantell described the object as, quote, tremendous in size, made of metal or reflective surface, moving at about 360 miles per hour. Captain Mantell pursued the object about 25,000 feet into the air, say military records, when Mantell likely passed out from lack of oxygen and then plummeted to the ground. It's an explanation many have doubted, and one important piece of the mystery was never solved.
They had no idea what this thing was. And this whole UFO phenomena was brand new.
Above all, this is Captain Mantell's legacy, the center of a still unsolved mystery. Covering the news in Simpson County, Adam Weiner, LEX 18 News.
And that's not all that's mysterious about this case. Thomas Mantell lived in Louisville all his life, but was born in a Simpson County hospital. Historians say Mantell was only in Simpson County for 2 days in his life, the day he was born and the day he died. Our chief meteorologist